So, welcome back to the War Room. We are joined by three of our commanders here. Peachy Pixel 8, Brad
Hi.
Woto, OMG Vandi.
Hello.
Their links will be in the description. Our other two commanders can't make it, so they will be indisposed. I assume McLoken's character is still on the planet fighting the Orcs, and Meta's commander is probably disappeared somewhere, making people feel uncomfortable. We are going to get right into it, and have you already seated at the war table? We have met your characters before, and we've met your commanders. Your commanders have met each other before. So, aside from not remembering Commander Smith, I think everything should be fine. The Lord General is there as well. Slightly older man, not looking his best. He seems to have been a bit stressed over tactics and planning and everything, and trying to get all the supplies sorted. The invasion was a big strain because hitting multiple areas at the same time was difficult. What you will have known coming into this is just the general setup of all the regiments and the specifics of what your regiments have done. I filled you in basically, but there is an assistant standing there. I believe his name was Lonnie. There's an assistant standing there who is ready to give you any information you need. So, I think the first thing that would be brought up, because it's something that happened very, very recently, is the Battle of Orcs Rift, which is at a point I will just show you because I can show you on the map. It is right there by the lake. The Imperial Line Regiment sent out a reconnaissance force to go and see what the Orcs were like, how far they'd expanded out into that area. They encountered a large army of about 2,000 Orcs and defended a farmhouse against that army, losing 9 men and successfully fending off the Orcs. What this basically means is moving up to that position, there is a river moving that goes from the lake to the other lake, which could be forded or defended, and you could do that without much risk to your regiments or armies, depending on if anyone wants to do that. Additionally, for Commander Smith, a few of the soldiers in the battalion were given for anvil badges. And I think one of them was breveted to Lance Corporal.
Going out like fucking hotcakes, they are.
Yeah.
On this planet.
Yeah. Well, it was a case of a very difficult fight, but also a very kind of successful battle where not many people got injured or killed or anything.
What's that like?
Well, we'll get to you.
Ouch.
So the adjutant Lonnie is.
Wait, Sheepdog, did you just give me the we need to talk later?
Yeah,
You just
pretty
Wow.
much. I think everyone's gonna want to talk to you, to be honest.
You guys are breaking up. I'm sorry. Like
Oh, really?
you two are not breaking up like audio. It's like you two are breaking up of your relationship.
Oh,
Yeah.
got me paranoid for a second.
Oh no. And the minute I said it, I was like, oh wait, no.
So yes, there are a few soldiers who have been recommended for medals and for promotion. The soldiers who are recommended for promotion are in the first squad of the Forged Battalion, is what they're being called now. Effectively, this is the players and a few of the other like NPCs in that battalion. So it's up to you, Commander Smith, whether you would like to promote them, give medals, or just leave them as they are and give them new orders.
Oh, I'm handing out all the promotions and anvils I can.
Okay.
That's what I want to do.
Would you like to make the battalion itself an anvil regiment? Because
Yes.
these guys have been like first into the fray twice.
I just want to be remembered.
Okay.
Right, you're supposed to be playing.
Not
a
gonna
character.
happen.
Yeah, I think I'm handing out stuff. These guys are killing it.
They really are. They led the invasion. They took the mountain. They planted the flag, and then they basically fought off 2,000 orcs with 150 troops. And
Yeah,
took 9
everyone should
casualties.
know that. They should be promoted as much as they can and get as many anvils and varying accolades that I can hand out.
I'm sorry, is this the guard or kindergarten?
Hey, we'll get to you. You're on the naughty chair at the moment, I feel. So all the promotions, and this will be an Anvil exclusive battalion.
Oh yeah, you watch them get wiped out next session. 100% losses.
I'm not gonna say that I'm gunning for them, but I'm gunning for them at this point. And probably I'll go over the medals later, but probably not the highest medals, but you know, some kind of valor in battle, exceeding expectation type medals. Okay, medals. There we go. Okay, moving on to the second squad, which is the Breath of the Emperor. They landed with the invasion. They hooked up with the Line Regiment and formed the HQ. Since then, they haven't really been doing too much. They've partly been guarding the HQ and partly been just doing strange things with gases and explosives and things like that. One thing that you will have all heard is that they got the highest casualty rate in the invasion, because one of the tactics that you will have no doubt heard reported was they charged into the trenches, and then anywhere where there was more orcs than their own men, they would throw explosives in and detonate them. So, yeah, very Imperial Guard.
That just gets me right there.
Yeah. So, they effectively, I think the casualty rate was about 50-50 killed by own troops and killed by orcs.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, if that gets the job done.
They were
What's
successful.
the total percentage of casualties?
85.
85%.
Not of the regiment, but of the invasion force that the regiment sent down.
Okay.
Still, very, very high. It was a
Yeah.
good, like... Yeah. It's probably a good, like, 9,000.
40k, man.
Moving on to the third squad and third regiment. Sorry, that was actually the second squad. So the third squad was the Breath of the Emperor. Second squad is the Naboom Banshee Regiment, who landed at Hive Bastort, moved into the Hive, encountered strange tactics like ambushes and traps and snipers and commandos. Decided that it was kind of scary in there. They barricaded off the Hive, set some defenses to defend it in case anyone tried to come out, and have moved to attack the army of orcs that's on the map. It's on their left. The fourth squad is Hugo Dundi's regiment, the Imperial Pegasi Guard. Under the tactics of Hugo Dundee, they moved up north to Hive Latate to secure the food, so that you would have no problems with food. Their regiment customized their their trucks that the commander got for them, so that they were think like Mad Max. That's what they turned all of their trucks into, basically. They moved up north, they encountered some scouts in bikes and engaged them and destroyed them. Then a giant, I'm going to call it fleet, because I don't know what you would call it, basically bombers, like plane bombing planes, turned up. About 200 bombers turned up and just battered the entire column, and there was a immediate retreat by the regiment, and they ran all the way back to home base. But before they did encounter a mass army of trucks and tanks and dreadnoughts, and also like squigoths. For those of you who don't know 40k, they're basically giant dinosaurs with orcs on the back. The Northern Orc army, with the information gathered from Orcs Rift and that excursion, the Northern Orc army is made up of two different clans, the Goths and the Evil Sons. The Goths.
Sorry, Goths.
Goths.
All right. Well,
Gothic.
The Goths.
I'm already imagining them in head to toe in black.
They're
Mascara and eyeliner.
I think their colours are white and black, so it's very close. But yeah, the Goths have a tendency towards mass charging tactics. They're the biggest and the strongest. They like melee combat. And the Evil Sons like anything fast. So all of the planes and the tanks and everything, that's them.
So basically a worst case scenario, got it.
Yeah, but one thing I will mention, although it's up to you to decide whether that is something your characters would take into account, it was probably the best outcome, because any of the regiments would have had the same treatment. It's just the fact that the Imperial Pegasi Guard are so cowardly and ran away instantly that they didn't take more casualties. And then we have the 5th Squad, the Atlas Sisyphean Regiment, led by Commander Aegis, who moved down in front of Hive Bastern and decimated the Orcs. It is the only way I can describe it. They took 5% casualties, they routed an entire army by themselves, and then when the Orcs came back to attack again, they had very little difficulty in holding out, and then countercharged the Orcs, and an Orc officer was bifurcated, like split in half, basically, by the commander.
Curated, like a museum.
Yeah.
That's what they call it.
Put them in a museum.
You know, when you like slice up a shark and hang it in a museum, that's what I mean.
Yeah. So that is the current situation. I will tell you that the Imperial Pegasi Guard currently are still low on weapons and ammunition. To give you an idea, the squad who played in Peachy's regiment, none of them started with guns, and one of them started without a uniform. So that gives you an idea.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
More of them lose uniforms.
Yep.
Yeah.
They kept getting knocked out and stealing each other's knives as well. There was a point where one of the characters had 4 knives because he'd nicked everyone else's knives, and then he got knocked out and everyone stole his knives.
That's like the most like junior high bullshit. It's like, I'm gonna steal all your fucking pudding cups.
Each other out and steal their knives, Canada.
Yeah.
No, okay. Obviously not. We only carry knives when we get to, university. That's not a lie.
The Imperial Line Regiment is doing fine. It's going to be a while until you have any food problems or ammunition problems or weapon problems. You managed to secure for the recon mission a Leman Russ and 6 Chimeras.
I'm so happy about that. I know what they are exactly.
They are tanks.
Thank you.
Demon Russes are dope.
Yeah. It did a lot of damage. The Naboom Banshee Regiment are fine. They may run into problems if they aren't relieved soon, or if they don't have their supply lines brought to them. The Breath of the Emperor, Meta's regiment, perfectly fine, no problems. And the Atlas Sisyphean Regiment actually has control over the ammunition over the whole planet at this point. So if you need ammunition, you know who to go to ask for ammunition.
Hello.
Hello there. I don't need ammunition.
Yeah, I don't need bullets. I haven't got any fucking guns.
Well, I think I can make those too, as far as I'm aware.
You could probably make some small arms, yeah.
Yeah.
Or you
Small
could.
arms, I need rifles.
You need uniforms.
I need
I don't think you get to choose.
Rifles are small arms.
Beggars can't be choosers, okay?
But you could adjust the production of Hive Bastern to include small arms, las guns, and things like that.
Okay.
But currently, it's just making ammunition specifically for your regiment.
Yes.
So
Yeah. Depending on what people ask for, I might, maybe, if people are nice and they have something in return.
Nice. 40k.
So
Hey, I'm the least nice one. I mean,
yeah.
maybe licking my boots.
So the Lord Commander Nihilium at the head of the table steeples his fingers. So I think we're all doing quite well. All told. There have been a few hiccups, and he stares at Commander Dundi for a moment.
I look around the room.
But I feel like we're off to a good start in this invasion. Does anyone have any initial thoughts before we move on to tactics and everything else?
Probably say quietly that I want a cup of tea, but no one hears me, so I'm going to get up and start doing that myself.
Yeah.
I take a pocket of dirt and just rub it on it.
Yeah.
I also want tea.
Yes, boy. Tea, please. Thank you.
Yeah. And how
Does
do
he
you
deserve tea?
What?
Does Commander Dundee deserve tea?
Why do I thought I'd not deserve tea?
Everyone deserves tea.
I'm
darling.
sorry. Are you getting?
Yes, what the help said.
Would you like a cup as well?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay. Sugars?
No, I'm gonna put dirt in it. Come on.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've stirred it anti-clockwise for you, so it tastes better. I'm like delivering tea to everyone, even like other people who are like coming in and out. Just become a tea boy.
He's handing off tea to servitors.
The Lord Commander looks up. Oh, thank you. He did initially address you. I think when you got up to make the tea, he forgot about you, and he's now just addressing the other two.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes, well, it was quite successful.
Was
Well,
it?
No, it wasn't successful.
I was very successful.
For an initial drop, I think it was quite successful.
Success.
Everyone seemed to do a relatively decent job.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, success, Dundee, means actually securing your area.
Obviously, it's quite impossible to secure the area.
I don't know. I secured all of my place.
Well, yes, of course.
I cleaved.
With the help of my regiment, of course.
No.
My regiment single-handedly took care of the Northern Forces' Eastern Front, leaving your regiment plenty of time to get in and do what they needed.
To Hive Bastern.
Yes.
all the way in the south.
Absolutely no reinforcements from the northern orcs.
Mm-hmm.
Was there one? Was there one reinforcement?
No.
Thank you.
But we also came down from the north and didn't see anyone. And we would have seen even some scuffle.
You would have if my
they
boys
were even there.
doing what they needed to do. Do I need to remind you how valiantly they fought?
Oh,
They fought.
one additional piece of information that would have been reported to both of you commanders, Commander Smith, Commander Aegis. Some of your equipment and uniforms have gone missing just over the course of, the last couple of weeks. It's nothing massive, but especially the uniforms have been going missing.
Are you telling me what I think you're telling me?
Yeah, your regiment has been stealing shit.
One of the player characters didn't have a uniform. Half that regiment didn't have pants on the entire time.
That squad, the players stole from the Naboon Banshee regiment and took a whole load of uniforms, went to the black market, which incidentally is run by your regiment, Peachy, and sold them for guns. And that's...
Try and get some guns.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they would do, right? They needed guns.
Yeah. No, I'm just...
Checks out for the orcs, man. Just no pants.
Yes, so my regiment, completely outnumbered, totally outgunned, still managed to hold back from attacking everyone else's regiment by just being there and being stalwart.
They ran away at the first sign of the enemy.
Wow, there was 50% casualties. I'm sure they ran away the correct time.
We did not expect the Orc forces to have planes.
Yes, we need some sort of anti-air or air support even.
Yes, this is...
And also tanks, and there was dreadnoughts there.
Our tank supplies are limited for now. Hopefully we'll receive some reinforcements in time, which will include more tanks and air support. But for now, we do not have much.
I would say my team would be a lot more effective if they had guns, or a gun.
Or pants.
Or pants. What? They don't have pants?
Well...
So the report comes in.
We do have an option in regards to the tanks, at the very least. We have a regiment on standby close by in another system that can be called in. They are a Rough Rider regiment, so mounted, but they are specialists in anti-tank warfare and skirmishing.
How many armored regiments did you see?
I point to Aegis.
Where is Smith?
In right here.
It's like sitting right
good.
next to you.
I look at you as if I've never seen you before in my life.
I wave. Hello there. I've been talking the entire time. Did you hear me?
No, I thought you were taking tea orders.
Well, I did that. Everybody's got a nice cup of tea. How is your tea? Is it good?
Didn't even realize a tea. It just materialized.
Doesn't go cold. I was
Not
saying
enough
it's very
dirt.
easy. It's not very easy to fight naked. Trust me, I've done it several times.
I have questions that I don't want answered.
Is there not chafing?
That's
Not if you're
one
naked.
of them. I don't... Vandi, I don't know how you expect to fight without guns.
Yes.
When you run away at the first sign of a fight.
The first sign? Sorry, no. I don't think 50% casualties is the first sign, is it?
5% casualties might have been the first sign, but also 5%
Yes, but my
casualties
men
was...
are far braver than yours.
You know, I was going to offer you guns from our wonderful Hive Bastern, which can actually manufacture them. But I don't know if I will anymore.
I get out a sheet.
Isn't that Hive just producing ammunition for yourself?
Yes. And I can change that.
Empty threat. I see.
Right. So any ammunition and any guns that I can produce and give to you
would definitely help the Imperial cause, yes.
Right. So you understand where the leverage is then in this conversation?
Oh, yes, I do.
Well, we are not talking currently about the manufacturing of weapons and distribution of weapons. Of course, all of you commanders have autonomy within this war under my jurisdiction.
Do I have autonomy to kill Commander Dundee and replace him?
You do not.
Damn it.
However, I will take it under advisement for a later date.
Thank you.
Commander Dundee, from my report, what I read is that your men engaged the enemy to begin with, but fled quickly after they were subjected to severe bombing.
Yes.
Do you say 200?
200 bombers, yeah.
Yes, 200 bombers, I'm told.
And I have received a report that, in fact, half of the Orc air forces got lost and were not in the battle. Their bombers found their way there, however, their fighters did not.
I'm sorry, got lost?
Yeah, that's a sheepy roll. I rolled a 100 for the fighters, and they got lost.
Like Bermuda Triangle, or they just flew the wrong way?
Bermuda Triangle lost.
Oh my god!
They're coming back, but ultimately they're on the far west side of the battlefield at the moment.
Yes, unfortunately, the real threat to the men on the ground is just the bombers rather than the fighters. But we need to be aware that they do have fighters if we can get air support.
Well, depending on what we decide here in this council, whoever is going to defend north or even push up further north will receive our anti-air support. I think we can all agree on that at least.
It depends how important the food still is. Has anyone got any insight?
Our supplies...
How important food is?
Well...
The food on the planet.
Our supplies, for the most part, are fine. I will say that there are a couple of regiments who will start to run low in the next month or so. The Imperial Line Regiment are set up for a good year's campaign without food supply. The Atlas Sisyphean Regiment will last about 9 months. The others are much worse off.
Then food should still be secured. But I would be... As is, I don't think we should continue with the same assault as we did before. Perhaps if we did have some kind of anti-tank or anti-air, we would have a better chance of getting into Hive Latet.
We have static emplacements which can be set up for anti-air. We do not, however, have much in the way of anti-air for tanks or gear. Commander Aegis. How easy would it be for your ammunition production to be partially shifted to anti-air?
To anti-air. It's very good at doing ammunition, making ammunition. It's decently good at making small arms. Anti-air. Do I have to roll for that, actually?
You'd know. There's there's a type of rocket launcher which is a lot like a javelin in the British Army javelins, which is like you make it, it fires once, and then you dispose of it. It's got a hunter-seeker missile in it.
Ooh.
Those aren't too difficult to make because they're disposable. So those would count under small arms.
And what are those called again?
Hunter-seeker missiles. I can't remember what the launcher is called off the top of my head, but we'll call them hunter-seeker launchers just for now, or javelins. Why not?
We'll call them. Okay. We could make some javelins. They're smaller, disposable. Suppose we could make some of those.
Good.
Maybe it would maybe it would allow you to not run away on the battlefield.
Well, there should be some form of exchange going here if you are to limit your ammunition production. Commander Smith, how do you feel about making a portion of your regiment supply troops? You already have the...
Well, a supply route was the original plan.
Yes, but I'm talking between all of the regiments. If you run the supply lines for this war with a portion of your regiment, you already have the trucks with which to do so. Although, there were quite a few casualties among the trucks as well.
Yeah, I'll do it. Yes.
Oh.
What? I said, do you want a cigar?
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
No. A cigar for you. A cigar for you.
Thank you.
No.
Milady. Okay. There you go.
No.
Yes, this would be possible, but we would need to shore off defenses against the southern front of the northern Orcs.
I don't know how to say that better. I'm sorry.
No,
precisely how
it makes sense.
Out of curiosity, how much of the orc force near Hivebestern, between Hivebestern and Hivebestort, how much of that is left?
Oof. You took out probably about 10%.
That's it? Oh no! Okay.
And that's
way more than that.
that's the smallest army.
How disappointing.
Okay.
Yeah, where's that? Smuggler's gone. What happened to that?
It was 10%. How much did you get rid of? One orc?
50%. All right.
Of your own.
Dock rotation. Okay.
His army got rid of 5 bikes and 2 buggies.
Okay. All right. Okay. No,
Yeah, but 10% of what, like 12 orcs are down there? The smallest army down there.
This is Vandi just trying to brag to Peachy here. I'm fully breaking character for this. How much is that approximately? Just
10% of 12% is
Okay.
I will fly over to the UK to kick your ass. Like
Okay. So
I'll
just
make up the spare room and the ass kicking room. I'll clean the ass kicking room.
to give you an idea of how well the Atlas Sophia regiment did, when they went down there, they actually broke an entire, like, not really, like, the equivalent of a couple of battalions, so probably like 3,000 orcs with artillery.
Don't get me wrong. I know.
Yeah.
I know how terrible I did compared to everyone else.
Oh yeah.
But I am Commander Hugo Dundee.
Mm-hmm.
And Hugo Dundee don't give a fuck.
Well, Hugo Dundee isn't the
Doesn't
most
know.
perceptive of all of the commanders. He doesn't know what his regiment is for a start. They're good chaps, but no. Honestly, what I will say is the best choice out of any of the regiments to go north was Peachy's regiment. Any of the other ones.
Because they're the most expendable.
Well, not just because they're the most expendable, but also because they're the most likely to run. Any of your regiments would have not run and taken more casualties. Like...
Fair enough, honestly.
Yeah. So, out of character, well done, Peachy. In character, you're a very, very bad commander.
So I guess my question is, because I've secured Hive Western fairly well, is it worth moving some of my troops, like a task force of my troops, up to help with the southern part of that northern force?
You did call in a few a set of reinforcements to help you with the defense of Bastern and the wall. But you do still have the majority of your regiment up either in the ship, or they are currently protecting the HQ.
Mm-hmm.
So defenses for the HQ at the very least are going to be fairly difficult to break into, because you do have the Imperial Line Regiment, the Atlas Fian Guard, and the majority of the Breath of the Emperor. With the Pegasi Guard also being there, although I don't think they're on defensive duty. I think they're probably being punished as we speak. So basically, for the next set of games, for the next set of the campaign, you could move, but the Imperial Line Regiment has yet to decide where to go next and what to do. The Pegasi Guard obviously have a choice of what to do. For now, the Breath of the Emperor will stick to their original plan, which is they're going to head down the south of this lake here and try and not
microphone
connect.
sheepy.
Oh yeah. The interesting thing is it doesn't actually go through on recordings, just Zoom.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll shut up.
Oh, no. It's I don't want you guys having to listen to my crackle.
But we're here already, sheepies. And look, we've...
the Breath of the Emperor will head towards the Hive network and kind of secure between the sea and that same lake, probably, and then make moves into connecting with the Hive network.
Okay. All right.
And obviously the Naboon Banshees will probably reinforce themselves and start putting pressure on that. You guys would know this by this point. It's a Blood Axe army.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Fun.
Their tactics are the most human. They have the most tactics and traps and retreats and ambushes and stuff. So it's going to be fun for them.
So I guess kind of going back to what we were doing before then, Dundi, if you need air support, I can give you javelins, but I need something in return.
How about a network?
Of what? Runners?
Trade. If we can get into Hive Latet, we can shore up food for everyone. Obviously, Smith doesn't need... Where is Smith?
I'm right here. I was...
Did you just get here?
No, I was just suggesting that myself about 5 minutes ago.
Sorry, Anne.
Yeah.
Did you
Just speak up, maybe.
What? I mean, quite often I do shout.
Really?
I don't think I've ever heard you raise your voice. This might be the first time I'm hearing you speak, actually.
Aren't you the chap who holds my towel when I have a shower?
Sometimes, but I don't like to do it. Only when I'm around.
Yes. Oh, well, good job.
Yes, you're welcome.
Right, towel boy. Commander Smith?
Yes.
Commander T. Boy Smith.
No, Guy.
Towel boy?
Guy.
Towel guy.
Towel guy Smith, yes.
What?
Well,
Yes,
we're just waiting on your suggestion.
Well, it was the same thing. Set up a network. We can run supply lines, get the food to the troops, push the southern side of the northern Orc army.
I think we need to secure this southern side before we can push along the eastern side.
Very well.
And then we can move the trade network up.
Well, I have the southern area locked down near Hivebestern, and if I can send some ammunition and supplies up to you for offensive measures, then you can maybe actually do something.
What, me? God, no.
What about...
No, I would never expect you, Dundi, to do anything. No.
Thank you.
What about the south side of the Northern Army? Should we be defensive? Set up along the riverside?
I suppose we need to get that bottom lake, and between the two lakes, it might be a good idea to set up some kind of barrier.
How difficult would it be to set up static defenses between the lakes?
Well, I set it up between the entirety of from the northern part of that little ocean down right across Hivebestern.
Yes, but that was a lot smaller army.
Yes, but it was a much larger surface area.
Yes, with less armies attacking as you did it. You think that's possible then?
Commander Aegis.
Yes.
If we were to set up transport for your troops, would you be willing to spare some of your experts in setting up defensive lines that another regiment could guard against the Northern Army?
So long as they follow the protocol of how we set up our defenses and we get some help. Yes. We will need strong workers. These walls are difficult to penetrate, but only if they're built correctly, and we need people who can dig. That's where my people come in.
Commander Dundi, how well do your men dig?
Pretty well, actually. Sometimes I find them just underground. They're always talking about the underground as well.
Interesting. Well,
so I assume they could dig quite well.
Are they dirt eaters?
Dirt? I doubt it. Dirt eaters? Which dirt?
Well, all of us. It's an honorable tradition.
To eat dirt?
In the name of the Emperor, yes.
Can't say I've tried it myself.
Here. Try some of this, and I'll take some of it and put it in his tea.
Yeah,
Drink that. Make you feel like a...
As soon as she forgets I exist again, I pour the tea out and make another one.
Yep.
Towel boy, can I have another tea?
Yes, certainly.
Well,
Can your men dig?
Of course they can dig. Yes.
Can they dig well?
Fences all the time. I don't know why that fence was there.
I think
An
we
abandoned
should...
penitentiary of some kind, I suppose.
Well, I think we should have, as punishment for running away from battle, the Imperial Guard will act as a portion of the regiment shall be siphoned off to build defenses for the Atlas Sisyphean Guard.
Right, well, that's not really a punishment to serve the Emperor. But yes, of course.
Good.
It's more of a punishment to serve under you for the Emperor, Dundi. I think it might actually be maybe we should get the best ones, the ones who are least willing to run away.
Perhaps I should have dropped my men on the easiest army.
Do you want defenses?
Yes, hurry up.
Now, before you get going again, the question becomes, who will guard against the Northern Army? I have my thoughts, but if anyone would like to volunteer.
Didn't we have some Commander Smythe or something?
Oh yes, what was his name?
Smeeth.
Smith.
Schmidt? Commander
He
Schmidt,
looks
I
like the
think.
guy.
Every time someone has said it, I've said my full name. Commander Guy Smith. Commander Guy Smith. Commander
Yes,
Guy.
that's his name. Commander
Commander
Guy
Guy.
Smith.
Commander Man Schmidt.
Now, where is this Commander Guy Smith? I hear
Right,
so much
right here.
about?
Put another
Oh.
key in front of him.
Oh.
There you go.
Thank you.
2 sugars stirred anti-clockwise.
So, it's good you finally here, Commander Smith.
Right, yeah.
Now, we have
Come
been
up with the
discussing
plan with
tactics.
The river and the digging. No one's
yes.
listening.
Would your regiment be able to hold against the Northern Orc army?
Yes, of course.
Do you have a regiment?
All right.
Yes, the
thought you were
Imperial
just
Line
doing-
Regiment 281586.
Right. I thought that was under
9
somebody else.
casualties.
9% casualties. My God.
Just 9. 9.
Yes,
That's
just
100.
just
Just
9
9.
men lost.
As in less than 10.
Yes. 1 less than 10. Would have been quite the disaster if we made it to double digits.
That's a very good joke. Now you have you and your fellow soldiers will be able to help then.
Yes, of course, we've got almost all of them left.
I lost
Right.
like 7,000 men.
Yes, you're terrible at your job.
No, it was just a
Oh, I have
terrible
to agree.
situation they were put in.
Hmm.
Yes, by you.
I don't think you should be talking to a commander like that.
Oh,
Oh, actually, no. I quite like this. I think we should promote him.
Or from
there we go.
T-Boy.
Yes, maybe to T-Man.
would I become a general if I took a promotion?
Yeah, you'd be.
Uh,
You'd be the-
general
I see why
guys.
not.
General guy. I don't know actually. The G's conflict. I prefer commander for now.
The cheese conflict.
Well, I think.
So we can send his army then.
Yes, I've already suggested it, planned it out. I pushed the map forward, and it's done
Right.
that.
Let's,
It's all-
let's not get pushy. I know you're working your way up in the ranks, but please.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Somebody's already set up the map anyway.
Hmm.
Good
Yeah,
job.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
and I also, quite a long time. I think there's dust gathering on it. I suggested the supply lines and the river.
Well, can you dust them off? Good
Certainly,
job, isn't it?
yes. I pull a thing out.
Mm.
Yes.
A microfiber cloth.
Now, Commander Smith, we do have one more thing to raise in regards to you and your regiment. I hear during the invasion you went missing.
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
I went undercover briefly for a moment.
well, none of your officers remember seeing you during the battle. Is all.
Yes,
There
well,
was-
it is really how it goes when you go undercover. You understand? Stealth operations.
Stealth.
Yes, there's a difference between AWOL and stealth.
Well, interesting. I will just make sure you don't do anything too dangerous, okay?
I hand him the file with everything. Yeah, well, it's all in there. I did write it down in my reports.
Okay, I will go over these reports in a little while.
Yeah, I mean, I did briefly pause on top of the exploding mountain after I destroyed all of the supports to take out the gun. It was tearing through my lines, but I briefly paused for a cup of tea. I wouldn't quite count that as AWOL.
What a story. What an
Right.
imagination.
Yeah, well, yes.
Literally the greatest infiltrator this universe has ever seen. Nobody knows he exists.
Took out an entire mountain gun. It was a gun in a mountain,
Yeah.
surrounded by orcs, filled to the brim with all their commanders and everything. And I went in there and killed them all, exploded the gun, took out basically the entire mountain while my regiment raised a flag of victory above it.
Yeah.
And no one saw me do it.
No one's
The most badass man who will be never remembered. He will not be remembered at all.
He blew up the entire orc command structure, took out a couple of like light vehicles, wandered inside the mountain. The mountain gun was a gun on it was a mountain gun. Basically, it could swivel the entire way around, and it was just a gun sticking out of the mountain that could swivel. And
Check it out.
blew
Think
I'll
that
have
up, killed the orc commander. And yeah, no one knows. No one has any idea.
It's just they just died. They must have just I don't know. They must have just exploded themselves.
There's a lot of
It happens with orcs.
It
And
was
it's
drastic.
incidentally, the full recounting of that tale will be visible at the end, viewable at the end of this commanders meeting, as the Lord General goes over the notes. And yeah, me and Brad
Amazing.
Goes reading through the file.
Yeah, me and Brad recorded the scenes, so we'll see that at the end.
Love that.
Oh my god, there's a flashback as he's reading the files. That's so dope.
So I think I will need to talk to the other commanders and see what their regiments will be doing. I have a basic idea of what their plans are. The final thing that we need to decide for now, aside from if anyone would like to request more provisions, more anything like that, is this 6th regiment. It will be a small stain on our record, calling in for reinforcements so soon. I will leave it up to you commanders to decide whether we should call in for reinforcements.
Going through the itinerary, apparently there's a lot of call for pants.
Pants.
Yes.
Well, let's not worry about...
237 pages. This can't be right. This must be a clerical error.
Indeed.
Did you say there were some in my regiment as well that were missing pants? No, not
Some
mine.
of your extra uniforms have been stolen.
Oh. You know, Dundi is right. Not necessarily just on pants, but it does seem like we're missing our extra uniforms, and I'm not really sure where they've gone, considering, well, we didn't lose very many people. And our Hive Bastern is incredibly well defended. I'm not really sure. Perhaps, is there a way, Guy man, do you make clothing as well?
Was it just towels?
Are you a tailor of some kind? You've been serving tea. I just assume you might be some kind of homebody.
Try. Do you have a tear?
Well, no. Dundee doesn't. Well, Dundee. Does he have pants on?
What I have pants on?
I have the most resplendent clothing.
Yeah. It is spotless white with gold frogging.
Yes.
So like tassels of gold and insignias. It looks beautiful.
It's like that scene in Red Dwarf where Rimmer's in his
Yeah,
full
yeah.
uniform.
And it is the only Imperial Pegasi Guard uniform that still exists. All of the others have been sold or like torn down for bedding or whatever.
Let's go frogging, that is. We could get a fortune for that.
Yeah.
I suppose it might be, well, good for morale if Commander Dundee's grouping and armies and people had appropriate clothing. Maybe not as over the top as Commander Dundee's.
Well, Commander Dundi, seeing as your men will be under the jurisdiction of the Atlasis of Guard for a while, digging and building barricades, how many commissars do you have under your regiment?
How many commissars do I have? None. One.
You have commissar friendly.
Oh, commissar friendly.
Yeah.
Just the one commissar friendly?
Just one commissar?
Well, they don't really need much, motivating.
Well, when you have a disciplined regiment, I guess.
Yes.
Commissars aren't as needed. Gives you like a side eye for a second. Well, set this commissar friendly to the subject of disappearing uniforms and gear. I do not want to think that we have any thieves under our command, but we must be sure.
I don't know if thieves. There's quite a lot that seems to have gone missing, and from you as well, Aegis.
Emperor forbid you haven't just lost it.
I lost in the numbers. A clerical error. Does anyone know if Smith lost any? Why
Smile.
is he not here?
I'm like stood next to Lord Commander Nihilus, and it kind of for the last time. I think it would be
Oh,
good if
You've like
sorry, I keep interrupting. I know, but
the Lord Commander has like he's been making his own like battle plans and tactics and like supply routes, and like every time he looks up to talk to everyone, you just like correct them very slightly and like adjust the routes and everything.
I'm like pointing at some stuff that I've placed next to him, and I'm stood next to him, and I was wondering whether I could get that.
Oh yes, of course. It's
Thank you.
you know.
No, what was that there?
More towels needed. It's fine.
Oh, yes.
He just signed off on what I wanted, didn't he? Do
Yeah.
you know what I wanted?
No.
I wanted to get out like the entire regiment with stealth equipment, night vision goggles,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
so silenced weapons, sneaking suits,
All right.
so that they could become due to excellent performance, so that they can also do some of the stuff that I do.
So,
and
like maybe
become-
some specialized squads and
We get some specialists in there.
Okay.
I don't
Don't
know
we
why.
have the breath of the
No, no.
Emperor? What
th-
have they been doing?
I believe, according to my records, they have been blowing themselves up.
Aren't they supposed to be more stealthy, able to go behind enemy lines?
I don't believe so. They appear to be a close combat regiment, which is
Oh.
very, very
Do we have
strange.
a group that can go behind enemy lines? Because I suppose if the mountain got blown up and that gun, the mountain gun got dismantled, then maybe they were... Has anyone spoken for that? Or maybe they've just blown up on itself. I can't seem to find it in the notes.
Yes,
I
we're
wake up
unsure
there
how
with the
that
plastique,
happened.
and that's really all it took.
We our agents are baffled as to how that mountain
And
exploded.
afterwards, I stopped for a cup of tea.
We think possibly it was due to orc negligence, but no,
Well, I
no
Does
one's pretty
happen.
sure.
That drained that last tea. Okay, well, if we've crossed every
More tea, please.
dotted every I, well, really, yes. It's just that our transports are almost ready and restocked. And
Which transports do we have? I'm sorry.
the back planet side.
Right. Dundi, are they yours?
No, those aren't mine.
I don't believe I have any. We just march.
I've already left.
Did Commander Guy Smith sign off on the regiment, the reinforcement regiment?
Yeah, I think I signed off on everything that was offered to me.
Okay.
As long as my regiment, okay, I just want my players to get full Metal Gear Solid meets Splinter Cell, sneaking suits and weapons for no reason. They just like, why do we have this? And then now they're specialists.
They will have the option to run as infiltration squads in the future now.
Fuck yeah.
There isn't like a massive amount of gear for that, but
Make it, sheepdog. You signed off on it unwillingly.
No. What I'm saying is,
Invent whatever you need to invent
Let
to
me-
give my boys the ability to do a Metal Gear Solid episode special.
so what there will be
There you go.
is all of that equipment has basically been signed off to your regiment now. So there is gear for like.
I'm just hoping they can use it to reduce casualties even more. Like, no one can find them and they just stealth kill everyone from now on with like katanas and shit. And it's like,
Yeah.
like 9 more dead in total. Like, we just survived the entire thing.
They're just all Sam Fisher at this point.
All of them become Sam Fisher,
Yeah.
and no one dies.
But yeah, no, you did basically through the unfortunate nature of Commander Smith being ignored and not getting credit. You did also get, but through that nature, all of the gear that you wanted. So
Yeah.
there are
Whatever
positives
it
and
takes to
negatives.
reduce casualties even more.
I love this character so much. It's so perfect. Oh God, Brad, I'm so happy you came into play.
Yeah.
It's just
But yeah, and you'll be able to see his character when this episode comes out. The back thing as well. But let's finish off the final part, which is for Commander Dundi and Commander Aegis. Will you sign off on the reinforcement regiment?
Yes, absolutely. I suppose we'd need it after Dundee ran away. Whatever's going on up at Hive Latate.
Yes, we would need this in order to make a powerful attack to actually get to Latate. Yes, Latate. Latate.
Latate, yes.
Latate.
It will slow down our...
I'm sorry, I don't speak Low Gothic very often.
Well, it will slow down our advance to Hive Latate.
Oh, he's such a dick.
Yeah.
God.
Instantly, instantly, Brad. If Commander Smith has gone and you need to go, like I have the footage of your empty chair, so I can add that in if you.
No, I just assumed that you. It sounded like you were wrapping up, so I just assumed it would just vanish.
Okay.
That's it. Everything's signed and done. Like he's done everything. His area is all neat and done, and he's just left. There's like 2 empty cups of tea.
I'll have you in
the folded towel.
I'll have the empty chair footage then after you leave.
Switch it over. Dundee, when your regiment, not you, of course not you.
Of course not.
No. That would be ridiculous.
Yes, I agree.
When your group was up at Hive Latate, did they see anything in particular?
I believe they ran into some Orc scouts.
Was there anything else, Sheepdog, or was it that happened and they just ran away instantly?
Yeah, and the bombings.
They got about halfway there.
So they couldn't even see Latate.
They didn't get to Latate, no.
Yes, our position was fierce.
But you didn't get to Hive Latate?
No.
So we have no idea if Hive Latate is even still standing.
Do we have aerial?
We have some aerial. It appears to be okay, but they do also appear to be under siege from the Orcs.
Yeah, I'll pull up them and bring them all up.
Yes, it does seem to still be standing, but for how much longer? Those Orcs are fierce on the eastern front.
Western
front.
The eastern front, all for the Orcs.
Ah, yes.
Oh. Well, I suppose I will help.
This is why we're not commanders IRL.
I will help you and your degenerates reinforce between the lakes. That should be fine.
Yes.
You should be better equipped, and I will see to that. Considering that your army is lacking in many departments, I will supply them with some javelins and basic smaller weapons, smaller guns.
And what are we planning to do with the anti-tank we're signing off on? Which I have signed off on, by the way.
Yeah.
Should it not be going there too, considering there are bombings?
Oh, yes. Did anyone else run into any armored?
No. We will need to send that regiment off immediately when they arrive to start harassing the enemy armor.
A couple final questions. The Gorlock Hive network, they're fine, I suppose.
They have occasional skirmishes on the outskirts, but they are heavily fortified.
Right, and the large Western force.
We have no information on it. We have sent a few scouts and agents out that way. None have returned.
Concerning. I'm worried that if we send everything we have to Hive Latate, it may be difficult, and the Gorlock Hive network will be under a little bit more duress. Should we not send... Well, I don't know who we have to send who can get information like that.
What was Smith's regiment doing? 18411288841.
They are going to be guarding the area in between the two lakes and guarding from the Northern Army.
Between the two lakes, isn't that what we're doing with the defense?
We're setting up defenses.
setting up-
We're all helping there.
Yeah, you're setting
Yeah.
up the defenses, but the actual like defending will be done by the Imperial Line Regiment.
And what's the resources of the Hive network? Is it just manpower?
There is a lot of manpower, majorly in the penal hive, but they also produce their communication network is there, and their storage is there as well. So all the stores from all the other hives goes to there. So before the invasion happened, what they've basically done is just shut themselves off from the rest of the planet.
So they can hold. They could, all going well, they could hold out for a while.
They've been holding out decently so far.
I think ripping the Latate from the Orcs would be the first port of call.
Sort of a pincer movement between the Hive network and Hive Latate.
Has anyone managed to communicate with the Hive network?
No. Although the Breath of the Emperor is headed in that direction.
Hopefully we can set up some communications.
Yes.
If we can set up this wall here between these two lakes, and eventually another wall between this lake and the one that is currently occupied by the Orcs, we might be able to have even more of some kind of advantage.
Do you think we should focus our forces there to try and gain that ground?
We will need to cut through there regardless to get to Hive Latate, won't we? Maybe not cut through, but I'm sure some of those...
You'll have to move parallel to it, and the Orcs do have a tendency to send out missions and
We will have to be careful.
You're talking about this here, right?
Yeah.
Going to there. Yeah.
Maybe not for this, round,
Yeah,
but
this
I'm almost
one
thinking for the
first.
next one. That's
Because
first,
most of our troops are here in this area, and then this one second.
Mm-hmm. So set this one up first.
Yes, we need to build a wall.
Yes. Well, I can do that.
There's a river going between the lakes, so you can set up on either side of the river. Yeah, it's up to you guys.
Oh, he's probably our side of the river. That would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right.
I think that is everything that needs to be discussed. I will send out the call for our Rough Rider Regiment to come and reinforce us. Very good. And if anyone sees Commander Smith, tell him I need a word with him.
I haven't seen him for months.
I haven't seen him since the beginning of the invasion.
I can't remember what he looks like.
Well, I'm sure he'll turn up sooner or later.
He's got the face like the guy.
He has the face, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he is Guy Smith, isn't he?
He's a guy. I don't know his
Uh-huh.
first name.
Are we sure he's even a man?
I can't even remember.
I assume so.
Well, I
Very well.
suppose we'll find out. I will march my troops up to between the two lakes there, and Dundee. I suppose you should meet me there with your group, with your degenerates, but your best digging ones.
That's a cock attack pattern.
Very good. Well, be about your duties, praise the Emperor, and
Praise the
I'm
Emperor.
sure we will be done by Christmas.
Praise the Emperor.
Christmas in another 50 years.
Yeah.
Praise the Emperor, the dirt we all came from.
And as you both kind of file out, apparently together, flicking dirt at each other, the Lord Commander Nihilium picks up his report and starts reading through the detailing of Commander Smith and his adventures in blowing up an entire mountain. Commander Guy Smith, commander of the Imperial Line Regiment number, I believe it's 2571.
Wrong. 2815186.
Yes. You have, I think we'll come in with you just having spoken to the first squad, led by Captain, I can't remember his name off the top of my head actually. His name is Captain Ravensburg. You basically went in and chatted to him for, and his squad for about 2 or 3 minutes, just gave them a basic mission of raising the standard. You thought it would probably inspire the men a little bit. However, they weren't 100% sure if you were the commander. I think one of them passed the tests necessary to remember that you're the commander and everything, so...
Yeah, of course.
And then after that, and after seeing to your troops, you headed towards the shuttles to go down with the main invasion. It was all very crazy. There was a lot of there was a lot of confusion, a lot of chaos. I mean, your regiment is more disciplined than some of the others, so it wasn't as bad as some of the other invasions, but it was still a little bit chaotic. To give you an idea of what it was like, it was a little bit like the D-Day landings, but from space down to a planet.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So you jumped into one of the shuttles, sat down next to a couple of troopers, listened to their small talk. It was all very soldiers before a big battle. You know, some of them are quite green, haven't had much combat experience. The only people who have is people who sport the Anvil badge. Incidentally, we spoke about what the Anvil stuff is. I'm still mostly keeping it secret from the viewers, but you were part of the Anvil, and you were I think you were the most successful in history while doing all the Anvil stuff, just purely because very often no one noticed you, so it was quite easy to survive.
Yeah, 100% success rate. No one knows.
Yeah. On the way down, obviously, you know, you got the shaking of the shuttle as you go down into the atmosphere. You start hearing the explosions of like flak, artillery, anti-aircraft type things, and you land in this big crater. No one notices that you're the commander, obviously, and then your troops kind of start marching out. You join the procession. And as you get out, you see, like, there's...
I assume I'm, like, barking orders, but no one's listening.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm doing the whole, like, stay with me, hold the line, and just no one's doing it, but I just keep shouting and keep moving in with them.
In fact, you do see the captain you spoke to previously organizing his men and giving them orders. At one point, he orders them up this crater, kind of into the main fight. And you can see like tracers coming over the lip of this crater. It's quite a big, you know, long crater. They just march up in double file, like in a column basically, and get cut down like horrifically.
Seems like a good idea. Okay.
Yeah. Well, your regiment is a line regiment. They're trained in a specific way. It's hard to get
Gotta go over the top eventually.
Yeah.
Send in the ants.
So yeah, I think you know, you probably decide that your own kind of solo style is going to work best here.
Yeah.
Whereby basically you go for a little walkabout and see what you can see and see what damage you can do to the enemy. You haven't had a lot of time with this regiment. You were probably promoted to commander 6 months ago or so. You haven't had any major engagements, maybe a couple of small rebellions or kind of civil unrest put down fairly easily. But one of your tactics that has set you right through all of your military campaign and history is just taking a walk and
How does that look if I'm like being fired upon? Like there is just general crossfire, like the traces and things. Am I like walking along and every now and then I pick up a penny and a bullet fires over my head and then I'm like, oh yes, wonderful, and then I carry on?
Oh,
Am I like that lucky as well as being invisible? Because I'm invisible to like people actively seeing me.
Yeah.
Kinda.
And
But surely not crossfire. Like how do I avoid all of that stuff, or is that where actual training actually?
there is actual
the
training
solid snake
as well.
crawling and things.
Well, you don't crawl or anything. You do just walk, kind of, hands behind your back as kind of a general stroll.
Bullet across the face. Oh,
Yeah.
there we go.
Every now and then you do kind of do like a head move just to dodge a tracer that comes too close. The thing about Commander Smith is he spent a lot of time in the Anvil, and I would say he's probably the only one to ever come out without any injuries or permanent psychological scarring.
Okay.
So he is very, very well trained, and his instincts are honed, like, just to the point where he will just kind of head dodge a bullet, just like...
Like, if I go that way down there, there's probably not going to be
Yeah.
a regiment here or enemies there or a mounted gun there. I'll just walk, and then it worked out. Yeah.
And in terms of combat, I think Commander Smith is a bit like a samurai, in terms of he doesn't draw his weapon until he's fighting, and then it's like very no like extra movements, no like it's all very business-like, minimal movement, efficiency of action, and then he's done and he sheathes it and he kind of carries on.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, we see Commander Smith basically just walking down, trotting down. There's you hear like the screaming of soldiers, like explosions, and the zip of like of the tracer fire going close by and this kind of thing. Maybe occasionally
There's like some whimsical music underneath him trotting along.
Yeah. He's probably actually humming a little bit, like a marching tune or something as he goes.
My lungs, I'm lung shot.
You know what's a good one is.
Yes, I was trying not to use any copyright music for you.
I'm pretty sure that's not copyright.
I don't know. Probably not.
It should be fine. Also, I'm very bad at it, so it'd be fine. But yeah, we see Commander Smith step into the first Orc trench. One of the Orcs like moves out the way for him. He just steps down, kind of climbs up over the other, keeps going. Yeah. And the Orcs are kind of like, whoa, like waving their weapons. And there's a couple of like fixed gun emplacements. Like you could do something here, but ultimately your objective is to get into the tunnels, like their main HQ.
The boys will get them ones.
Yeah.
I'll deal with the other stuff.
And indeed, you can hear some of your COs in the background, like shouting men into order. They're kind of sorting them out so they're not stacked up and getting injured. There are multiple waves coming over the lip of the crater, which do get cut down, but eventually, like, you do hear them kind of push about halfway to the trenches, start firing. Some rockets start up, some of the static guns are taken out. You probably even like glance over your shoulder as you're walking and see some of this happening. And you get to the second trench, which is kind of at the bottom of the mountain, and kind of jump into that, that kind of double foot jump where you just go, and so, you start kind of walking down the trench and towards one of the tunnel entrances. There are
walking
Orcs.
in and out of Orcs.
Yeah, just kind of, making sure not to jostle anyone. You don't jostle people, it's rude. And just kind of weaving in and out as Orcs are running up and down. They don't... One of the things you know...
Can I like be casually just like taking pins out of random grenades as I walk?
Yeah, totally.
So that like as I turn a corner, there's an explosion in the distance, and then it's just like very minor inconvenience things just to give my side a fighting chance, but I'm not really doing much.
You could probably
Yeah,
even like
a
just
bandolier of grenades, and I'll just take the pin out of the bottom one on some orc that's walking past me. Oh,
Yeah.
yes, we'll take that. Yep, I'm spinning it around my finger as I casually turn the trench corner. As dirt fires over the back of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you notice is as you're walking past orcs, this is something that you've gotten used to at this point. But it's almost like their eyes like slide over you, like you're a blank spot in their vision. It's not like they look at you and go, oh, that's an orc, or oh, that's just a threat. You know, you like erased from their perception.
It's like when you don't tidy up for a week and like 2 or 3 cans in your room stop being rubbish.
Yeah.
They just stop being trash, and then they're part of the room, and you kind of can't see them anymore until like you're like, wait, why didn't I clean those up? Like 2 days later, you're like, things start to like become background visuals, and you don't actively acknowledge them anymore. That's how I've always imagined it as well. Like they just don't care enough about this random background thing. There's just the plainest, most uninteresting thing there next to just, like a 2x4 plank of wood.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
You've actually learned to hone it to a certain extent, just to kind of escalate it very slightly, so that you make very slight movements. Obviously you're still walking.
That combined with legit spy training, or whatever, or commando training, would be how you do it. I think honestly that's how spies really are. Apparently spies in the real world are the most normal, average-looking people.
Oh yeah.
Because if they're beautiful, you'd look at them. Or if they're like extremely ugly, you'd be like, what the hell's going on with that guy's face? Cough, Peachy. But like if they're like really just average, just beyond average looking, then people don't notice them. And I think that's what they do with real spies. So I imagine it's the same kind of thing, although obviously orcs and humans, I have to apply.
Yeah, there is.
I feel like that's why we're not jostling people.
Yeah.
And then there'll be like loads of them, and I'll just step back for a moment and lean against a wall, and then they'll go past and I'll carry on. It's just like, and I step into a shadow or move over there.
Yeah.
But it's not the full-on like that Ninja Cat video where the camera turns away and it's always closer and closer. It's more like that than actual like ninja. Talking of cats, I shouldn't have mentioned the cat. Because he will not stop.
Yeah.
Oh my. Okay.
I was super tempted to carry on narrating what you were doing while you were gone. It's kind of like a
I mean, you can. Here you go. Here's some footage of my chair.
Yeah.
And just an empty screen. And you just print screen it.
Yep. Done.
I guess it needs to be I'll record just like 10 minutes of it that you can loop.
Even like a minute I can loop enough for,
Yeah. All right. I'll do it. I'll send it to you later on.
Okay. So you do also get when you get to kind of this big entrance, it's got kind of the way orcs make their everything basically is very ramshackle, very kind of like you think like Mad Max, how they have those like corrugated iron like stapled kind of hammered together. That's kind of how the orcs make their stuff. But the doors are open. They're not expecting anyone to get anywhere near for a while. The battle is still raging over the first trench. And you just walk in. And you kind of wander in. There's actually no orcs here. They've all kind of poured out into these 2 trenches to deal with this invasion.
Peace at last.
Yeah. it like you hear like the odd kind of rattle of battle and occasional explosion, but it's a little tinned. And as you do, a couple of kind of the best way to describe them is like mini dreadnoughts. So they're kind of bipedal, so 2 legs, and like kind of claws and big like flame weapons and
I know what they
machine
are
guns.
actually somehow.
Uh,
My
the-
knowledge extends that far.
Oh, they're basically killer cans. Is
Yeah.
their name. And they're powered. They're kind of piloted by the little Gretchen, the kind of goblin type orcs. And they kind of like stamp in, and you know, a few minutes after you come in, and you're just getting your bearing, they wander in, and they kind of stand there at the entrance, like looking away from you. They you know, you're not that far, you're probably about 5 meters behind them at this point, but they came in, you're visibly right in front of, just standing there looking around, trying to decide where you want to go, and they just stomp in, turn around, and get ready to guard the entrance.
And they're like, there's like a dude sat out of the top of it, like he's in a tractor.
It's a bit more like,
Or are they covered?
yeah, it's a bit more like a complete casing of metal, and they're just inside, you know, pulling levers and like
Do
controlling.
I know how the best way to take these down through my years of training?
Yeah, you could, with your power sword, you could just slide the sword through the armor and probably kill the driver from behind.
Can I do it that way?
Oh yeah. So you wander up to the first one.
Like a casual walk up to the back of it, and then
Yeah.
then there's like a cool ninja Sekiro grabbing of flipping onto the thing, and then jump up to the next bit, and then I'm on the area where I know the cockpit is or the driver is,
Yeah.
and then
you
the
just
power sword will be activated.
Yeah, you just slide out this power sword, flip it around so it's facing down, activate it so the power field just crackles on, and just slide it down the top. And
Yeah.
it goes like down and straight into the head of this goblin who's like desperately like looking out for enemies, ready to fight someone. And
And then dies.
and then just goes down. And you kind of like do a little roll off of it as it's, you know, kind of collapsing to the side, like slide down it and come up standing as the other killer can like turns around, and you can see like
Yeah.
the visor right in front of you with the like where the eye hole is, and you don't even need to like slide it through the armor. You could just
Poke it
that
through the
power-
hole.
Yeah. You just kind of like very gently and very delicately just slide the power sword through the hole, just straight
Yeah.
into the face of this other Gretchen.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I'll do.
Yeah.
And then do like a triple backflip off the top, and then land and put my arms behind my back, like put the sword away, resheath it, and then
Yeah.
arms behind back and carry on strolling down.
Probably like a
These things are falling down behind me, like you know, whatever. Like
Yeah.
the casual walk away again. It's just how I leave every room in a war situation. Casually strolling away, thinking about like, oh, what was the name of that book I wanted to read?
Yes.
Like,
General Tacticus. Oh, yes, I do need to brush up on my tactics.
oh yes, of course, General Tacticus. That's what I was going to read. Like thinking about like.
And yeah, you just kind of you walk around the corner of this tunnel as there's like an explosion of kind of like catching fuel, etc. Just a
Oh, yeah.
little kind of like from the vision of you like coming around the corner. You can barely see the explosion. You can just hear it, and there's kind of a whoomph of. And yeah, a few orcs actually run down the tunnel towards the explosion, and one of them, like as they're running, like sidesteps to get out of your way as you're like walking down the tunnel.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want, you can attack them, but again, they're just grunts. It's
I think I'm generally leaving orcs alone.
yeah.
I'll take out any big stuff.
Okay. So you keep going down the corridors. Every now and then there's an orc, maybe some Gretchen and snotlings like carrying stuff. Every now and then there's a slightly bigger orc who likes kicking people into gear. Until you hear the sounds of kind of like very raised voices, and it twigs in your head like these are the sound of, you know, like people giving commands, people arguing about kind of not strategy exactly, but how best to charge, as it were, because most orcs aren't super tactical and strategic. And you come upon a kind of carved out part of the mountain that just has as you kind of like, I imagine you don't even like peek inside. You just walk up to the door and kind of look in, and you're like just observing it for a couple of seconds. There's just basically a set of probably like 10 or so orcs with like just like a carving in the wall with probably like chalk or something like that, and they've just got like they're arguing over each other over how best to charge, like where to charge and this kind of thing. Very obviously like officers in terms of orcs, they would be considered officers.
Here's what I would like to do.
Okay.
You said I had a bolt pistol.
You do?
Can I like fire it like a few times so that some of them run out?
Yeah, definitely.
I'll like fire it a few times and then I'll just throw it on the ground so they have something to look at when they come out. And as they all come rushing out, I'll walk in. Is there any in there? Is there like one? Who's the lead? Is it like one leader or is it like 5 leaders?
These ones are mostly like all around the same rank. It does depend on like their physical strength and who can kick whose ass. But yeah, they're all around the same strength. So there's no like one leader.
Is there any like grenades and stuff in here?
You actually have some det packs, which is basically like the equivalent of like C4. You've got like 2 or 3 of those det packs, which you can.
I'll take one of them.
Okay.
I'll stick it on the back of the chalkboard. And then on the front of the chalkboard, I will first of all adjust the best tactics for them.
Yeah.
Because I'm good at that, I think, from what I remember last time. I'm good at command.
Oh, you totally are. Yeah.
So I adjust it with the answer to how to defeat us. And then in the center, I draw a massive dick. And then I set the timer on the C4 and walk out and stroll away.
Yeah.
In the hopes that they come in and look at it. And then they die.
Okay. So you set the timer specifically for when they wander in, when you think they'll wander in and see it.
Yeah.
So you fire your bolt pistol, like drop it down. The orcs come storming out. There's a couple of them left. And as you kind of like take that opportunity to slip in, and you walk up to this kind of chalk engraving thing that they've been doing. There's actually an orc there who's still kind of like looking at it and like very confused.
I'll be stood next to him, like making a.
Oh no, you walk up to him and you're like, excuse me, and just like he's like, kind of like moves out the way, and you just like rub it out and then start doing the chalk.
Like put an arrow over here, artillery here. If they move this down to here, really that second trench should have been, about 15 feet further up. Just adjusting all the things for like exactly how
like
they would have won.
The perfect positioning of like static defenses and all that kind of thing. And like
you just shade a really intricately well drawn penis.
Yeah.
Down the center of the map.
And then you put it down. You just turn and like politely nod at the orc who's there. He doesn't pay attention to you.
What's happening? Wait, this is perfect.
Yeah, and he's there like he's like he hasn't been looking at you, but he's been looking at the drawing. He's like, oh yeah. No,
it's
this
his
could
idea.
Work. Yeah, this could work. And then like as you leave and you like slip out, he turns around and goes, Boys, I figured it out. I've got the perfect strategy to kill these zoomies. and then like they start walking in and they like gather around and they're like, no, yeah, this is perfect. Yeah, we should enact this immediately. Boom! And just tears apart the room like.
And I'm walking away again, just strolling down the rest of the tunnel.
Oh, like in cinematic terms, the camera is looking at you as you've just kind of slipped out and you've started walking down, and then just a huge like mix of like flame and rubble just flies out of the door and hits the opposite side, and again you're walking calmly.
Piece of chalk flies out.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good to me. I'll carry on.
You carry on. Your objective is still this big like turret, mountain turret is the best way I can describe it. To give you an idea is like as you were walking towards the tunnels, like you already knew about this mountain turret thing before you came down, but it's basically like the peak of a mountain, that classic kind of peak, and then around about like here there's just a band with like the missing rock has been taken out in a circle all the way around it, above and below, and then there's just this huge tube of cannon which can swivel 360 degrees because orcs are weird.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm into it.
And around about this time, you do actually hear it go off for the first time.
Oh, dang.
In terms of for the first episode, this is around about the time when one of the shuttles gets destroyed, reasonably near the squad, but they thankfully it targeted the one that was like the furthest away, so it didn't actually endanger them too badly. You would also hear a large explosion as the captain decides to basically napalm the second trench. He uses the fuel in the shuttles to drop the fuel and ignite it, and it napalms the entire like front of the second trench.
Nice. Sounds good to me.
Yeah. So it was a very, very intelligent first step, and also it made things difficult for all of the other regiments because they didn't have as much fuel for the shuttles.
Oh right, yeah, the fuel management stuff.
Yeah, so it
creative.
Yeah, and it did minimize the casualties a bit for your regiment at least.
Perfect.
But yeah, you keep going, and I think actually probably one thing that would have happened is as you slip back out and they kind of called that orc called all the others back in, you just picked up your bolt pistol and been like, yeah, there you go, and keep walking down.
Yeah.
And you get further down to kind of the entrance to this mountain, and it is actually like a proper evil mountain stronghold. You know, it's got like it's been completely hollowed out.
Yeah.
It's like think like James Bond evil villain there.
Yeah, I can see a weird kind of gnarled mountain with all the things sticking out of it, and yeah.
You've got like walkways going up, and then you've got this big cylindrical device in the middle that goes all the way up to the swivel where you got the cannon.
Oh yeah.
And close to the entrance is actually like something you can identify as like a commander type orc. Like, you know, he's got much heavier armor, he's got like this big claw that crackles with power, he's got kind of a larger, like big chunky gun, which every now and then, like, there's an orc or a Gretchen running past, he just like shoots it as he's like yelling, he's like, "You boys need to get out there," and you know, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he's also from South London by the sounds of it.
Well, interestingly enough, the accent chosen by Games Workshop for orcs is London Cockney.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow, so they're all from Grove Park, my old mate. It makes sense. I mean, it's a good accent. I would have picked something similar for orcs as well. Oi, do, what you doing, mate? Get out of there, mate. Oi, nah, mate. Get your crispiness away from me.
But yeah.
Would you like me to kill this orc for you?
You don't have to.
I would like to.
Yeah.
I like to take out command.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my responsibility. The grunts can deal with the grunts.
Yeah.
Where is he? What's he stood on?
He's just kind of stood at this kind of like curved entrance to the mountain, like overseeing them, like moving boxes and like bringing guns out and this type of thing.
Is he up high in such a position that he could be pushed off the edge or something like that?
He is elevated a fair amount, yeah.
That's what I think you were. If we have access to outside of the mountain here, it might be nice to try and, let's see. I think what I would do, using my powers of passive invisibility, basically. He has a bunch of stuff on him. You said like has a gun or whatever. Has he got anything that looks nice on him, like something that belongs to him that he's maybe precious of, like a trinket or something, or is it just like his guns and stuff?
He actually has like a like big set necklace with loads of orc teeth that he's taken from like, you know, bosses and officers that have like, you know, that he's defeated as he's come up and everything. It's kind of mementos. And orcs
and
also
I'd like
use
to
teeth
walk
as
up onto whatever
money.
platform he's on.
Yeah.
And he's facing, is there a big drop behind him or in front of him?
in front of him. He's like looking out over it, and
Perfect.
he's like shouting at people. And
Then yeah, I'll walk up and like skillfully, like real world Brad is removing a bra from a beautiful woman, ping the clasp or undo the thing so
Yeah.
that it falls from his neck and he maybe like reaches out to grasp it, and then
Oh,
I just
yeah.
put a boot on his butt and push him the extra over the edge.
Oh yeah. So like when you do that, like obviously it's like a trophy to a warrior type thing.
Right.
So he
I want it to
immediately
be
like he immediately like goes down to grab it as it starts falling, and he grabs it, and there's kind of like a pause where he's like, oh. And then you just put the boot to his arse
Whoopsie.
and then push him. It's not even a
Yeah.
kick. It's just a
No,
just
it's the classic like put a boot on his bum and just extend leg.
yeah. And yeah, he just very gently topples forward. Like he doesn't have the balance because he's leaning forward, so he just topples forward and then just falls this good like 50, 100 meters or so. Just
Ta-ta! And then I'll carry on.
and he just goes splat. And you can see like up the top of this kind of big cylinder in the middle is like it's kind of like an observatory type setup, you know, where you have like the lens that you can look through to see the stars and all that kind of thing. Except for it's up the top of this mountain. It's basically how the gun works. There's like a swivel thing that can be done and all that.
How
and
how
it's
big
right
is
on
the
top of it.
cannon? Because it's coming out of the mountain. Is it like a Star Destroyer type size? Is it just ginormous? Is it or is it
it's-
more like the thing from Final Fantasy VII, the Junon cannon that they attach to?
I haven't seen
stuff?
Final Fantasy VII. I've never played it.
Okay, well, this is over then.
I
This
know.
is-
I'm
this is
sorry. I'm
over
sorry.
with- No, like, is it ginormous? Like,
Yeah.
I guess my question here is, as I'm approaching this thing, do I need to find like a Death Star core to blow up, or is it big enough that I just need to take out some supports and it will ruin it? Like,
Supports. It's very clankily built. So you have a couple of det packs left.
yeah.
A
I kept them.
couple of those like on either side will basically weaken it enough that it will just collapse onto itself. And also, it'll probably destroy a lot of what's below it as well.
Yeah, I think I'm just doing a nice wander around the base, and I
Yeah.
might even have like a notepad out, and I'm just taking notes as well, like of like how they've set this thing up, because they might build more, and I'm like checking out like, you know, I'm just listening to conversations and taking notes for later on for just recon, and then I'll walk past a support strut or something and just be like, oh yeah, that'll nice. And then
Well,
put one on and then carry on.
in that case, I think we'll go take Forbidden Law Orcs as a 1-tick skill.
Hell yeah.
So
I
you
have
now
no idea what I'm looking at.
so on the right of your character sheet, if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see Forbidden, and it'll say a few things which we can't.
Oh,
talk
I write it in. Okay.
Yeah. So
So,
if you write
Forbidden
in
Orcs. Orc law.
Orcs, yeah,
Orcs. 1-tick.
there you go.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm wandering around gathering some intel, writing down what I see. When I find two, you know, load-bearing pillars or whatever they're using, girders, I don't know, and I'll attach 2 C4s. Or I have 2, so I'll put 1 on each, and then I'll probably just casually leave. Do I have a remote detonation thing, or do I need to time them?
Oh, you can totally remote activate it.
Then yeah, I'm doing that. I'm thinking like, I don't know if you ever played Command and Conquer Generals, but there was Colonel Burton in it, when you could just send him in and he would turn invisible and you just put bombs on everyone's building, and
Yeah.
and then he'd just be walking out and you'd be like, hey, there's an enemy, Colonel Burton. And I think maybe something like that happens, like I'm actually seen briefly for like 1 second as I'm heading out or somewhere,
yeah,
and then I'm like
there are like some holes in the bunkers in the mountain where have been like bunkers and things. Some of them have been destroyed. You kind of set your explosives. You got your detonator. You head towards it. and you hear like, "Oi, what are you doing?" Kind of thing, and you turn your head back for a second and see like this little kind of Gretchen dude, and you're like, and you just click it and start walking out, and like the explosion starts happening and this kind of thing. I think also what happens, because this is a little bit turned into a James Bond film, we go down to the orc, the general basically, who you kicked off the platform, who's like bloody and broken faced and like insides battered, and like he just like flips himself over onto his back, and he's like, and he's like preparing to get up and deliver holy justice unto whoever did that to him. And the top of the artillery piece just starts like flying out towards him. He's just like, and the camera like goes into his mouth as it hits him. You walk out onto the mountain, and you actually catch a
cold.
Yes, you're brought down by.
And that's what kills you.
No, you catch the end of a what looks like quite a vicious melee fight between someone who's got like this symbol of like medical type thing on her arm, and she's got a chainsword, and she seems to have been fighting this orc, and she's been like kind of grabbed by her throat and like lifted up into the air. She just engages this chainsword and like smashes it into this orc's skull, and then just brings it down his head, and like, you know, there's blood and green guts and everything, and she gets dropped to the floor as the orc dies, like looks around, and her gaze like shifts past you and then further up the mountain to where the rest of her squad is, trying to put up this flag. It's the first squad that you...
And she brings it back, and I'm like leaning in and nosing over at the orc.
Yeah.
And I mean, at that point, I probably will actively try and engage her. I don't know if I even can.
I gave during the episode, I gave them checks to see if they saw you, and they all missed you. Like
even the medic.
Yeah, even the medic.
In that case, the whole time I've been saying, "Bloody good show, trooper! Oh,
yeah.
Absolutely marvelous!" I'm like clapping.
Yeah.
Oh, you've done that all by yourself. All the others around? No, that was by yourself, and you're a medic. That is absolutely. I tell you what, there's a promotion coming in for you. Where are you going?
She's like,
trooper, medic. Well, good show.
She's like running up the hill, and you manage to catch the end of this like final attempt to put the flag up, where you have the captain and what looks like a sergeant like holding orcs off as this corporal like charges with this flag, and he's being chased by this orc. Like, you see this moment where he could either drop the flag or plant the flag and take a hit. And he takes this like axe in his back as he's like planting this flag, and then just turns around and just like decapitates this orc with his chainsword.
Jolly good show, jolly good show. No one hears me say as I'm strolling up.
Yeah.
How do I give the medic my anvil badge if they can't see me?
Well, what happens is you head up to the top of the mountain.
I hand these promotions out without being seen.
Oh no. Do
they not know they're promoted?
No. So what happens is you walk up to like kind of survey the battlefield, see how the fight is going, that kind of thing, and they walk down. So they go back down to basically help out the second trench, and they actually like, as a squad, are like charging straight towards you in kind of like we've got to get down there, help our fellow troopers, like take control of the battle for the tunnels. And they just like part like a river around a stone and then come back together. They don't even notice that they've done it. Like, and they just go straight through, past you. You go straight through them.
Jolly good show, chaps.
You probably pat one of them on the shoulder as they go past, and they're like...
Does that thing like when someone taps you the other side and they're stood on the...
Yeah.
You do that and there's no one there.
And then you head up to the top of the... Head up to the top of the mountain, and you can see the devastation that the invasion has caused. Like, There's massive like craters everywhere. There's thousands of dead bodies of orcs and Imperial Guardsmen. You know, it's an invasion. It's not pretty. Later on, you'll learn that you took about, I think it was about 65% casualties in the invasion force, which I can tell you because we've done, you know, the other regiments and stuff. It's pretty good. I think, aside from the regiment that retreated and the regiment that is literally a defensive regiment, you did the best. You probably got the least casualties out of everyone.
Hell yeah. Can I sit on the top of the mountain and pull out a flask and have a little cup of tea?
Oh yeah, yeah. You know, it's you've got like a equivalent of like a thermos type thing, and you just
I'm like looking out over this horror and just all the
yeah,
just endless chaos. Oh, absolutely going to need some Earl Grey for this one. Take one of my 3 flasks of different types of tea.
Yeah.
Oh dear,
And
oh dear.
yeah. You kind of sit down on a little kind of outcropping of rock, and just like view the section of the invasion. You know, kind of back towards where you came from. You see more like shuttles coming down, a few kind of like Chimera APCs, and a few tanks like coming out. They start moving to this pass through the hills, and they start chasing the orcs, who are in full retreat at this point. You probably hang there for like an hour, just kind of, you know, you did your job, and
My job. I'll take some notes as to what I see from this vantage point, but I think I'll just relax.
Yeah.
That was hard work.
yeah,
You know how hard it is to casually stroll through enemy lines and destroy everything behind them.
you do tend to feel this like little element of stress, you know, like you know those acrobats who like have the circles that they hold on to,
Yes.
and they like do it out like that. It's a bit like that when you're like infiltrating and not being seen and everything like that from the
And
enemy.
that's what the Earl Grey is for.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I always need an hour and a cup of tea.
Yeah.
And then I can head back.
And then, you know, eventually you decide the orcs have been pushed back from this area. The standing orders are basically take possession of the mountain and the hills, set up defenses, prepare for, you know, the rest of the regiments to come in and start moving out. And you head back down the mountain, just, you know, quite casually, no rush.
Yeah.
You walk through the trenches and the orc defenses that are now being either kind of like dismantled or, you know, kind of mapped so that they can be dismantled. And you actually get to a basic like bivouac HQ type thing. You know, it's a few tents, like there's a med tent, and there's kind of like an area where returning squads and companies can just sit down and recuperate. As like more of your regiment is coming down and replacing the invasion forces, they're like moving out and chasing the orcs away, and, you know, like escorting the tanks a lot of the time to take down like any areas of resistance that's still holding out. And you see the squad that had planted the flag and everything. Because this scene has already played out in the episode,
I don't need to do nothing.
well, if you're cool with it, I'll just give you an idea of what happened.
Yeah.
So you walk over and you sit down. They're all a little bit confused until one of them, the same one who in your first meeting realized that you were the commander, kind of salutes you, says, "Commander, welcome, sit down, please, sir." You sit down with them. You tell them that they have done a good job. They completed their objectives. The sergeant, who was holding off the orc forces, you promote to staff sergeant. Effectively, he is the highest ranking NCO in this kind of company battalion. You promote the flag bearer from corporal to sergeant. Both of them have anvil badges on their shoulders.
Hell yeah.
As does the captain. So, and then you consider the medic, who, you know, the thing about the anvil is it's it originally started on the homeworld as a symbol of survival and struggle, and basically, you know, being hammered out on the anvil of war to the point where you're a warrior. And, you know, for yourself, you don't find fighting orcs particularly hard. But you fought more dangerous things than orcs. So, for a regular trooper, just first day on the battlefield, it's pretty good. So you just, you know, rip off your patch, hand it over to the trooper. There's a few words of wisdom and, you know, basic kind of buoying of spirits, and then you
did good, kid. One of those moments in the movie. You did good. And then he walks off and lights a cigar or whatever. Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is you kind of sit there for a little bit and, you know, you listen to them talking. They can't see you.
No,
whatever,
I know.
Whatever happens when it happens, it just engages off.
The version of the movie, from my perspective, is completely different to the one from an average trooper. I understand that. I think even the commander himself understands that. Yeah. I think that's cool, though. The anvil badge, is that yours, or is that actually from the thing? The existing law?
Oh, no, this is 100% mine. It's
a cool bit. I like it.
Yeah. It kind of evolved as I was making all the regiments. I wanted there a reason to be for your character especially, but for the whole regiment to be kind of nondescript, and it's all very like insidious and like, you know, sinister. The fact that they're all very normal, nothing's ever happened on their planet. It's all very, you know, like, I mean, the reason that the planet wasn't colonized was because no one noticed it. And then one day someone was like, there's a planet there, and it's really nice. We should probably colonize that. And that's how your planet was colonized.
Right, yeah, okay.
So, like, your planet and your, like...
natural magic boosting me.
The people from your planet, like, your population in general, I believe it's called Mundus 7.
I am from Mundus 7, I believe so, yeah.
All of the people of Mundus 7 are a little bit like you. They're very nondescript. They're very not obvious. It's just you are the you could consider the equivalent of you're the avatar of that planet. You know, like, you just embody everything Mundus. Yeah. And then you think, you know, after a while of listening to the troopers talk to themselves and, you know, like, discuss a few tactics and this kind of thing, they talk about you a little bit, how they think that they saw you at one point, but they're not sure. You're still sitting there, like, in the semi... There's like a circle of them, and they're sitting there chatting, and you're part of the circle.
Yeah,
they haven't noticed. They haven't noticed there's a weird space in the conversation. After a little while, you decide, you know, like, you've done what you need to ensure the success of the invasion. The next thing you need to do is go back up, because eventually there's going to be a meeting between all of the commanders, and you need to make sure that your Lord Commander Nihilius, who is the one played by me, the NPC, doesn't make any more, like, massive mistakes like he made in the invasion plans.
That was terrible. Yeah. Okay. What a successful day I've had.
Yeah.
And pleasant. Another scratch on me. Maybe like a little bit of dirt on a boot, and I'm like polishing it off on the way back up in the shuttle.
As you're going back up in the shuttle, you're just like polishing it. And...
Not a perfect day, but close.